Hello, world. Hey, it's me, your old pal, Dan Shaheen. Welcome to Comic Book News. Oh, man. What a fun and interesting show we got today. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got too many people to fit in one StreamYard sitting backstage right now in the green room. I've got the Image Grand Design team. What's Image Grand Design, you ask? Well, it is the fan-made project dedicated to the Image Grand Design, or the Image founders, the Image books. These are the books that inspire these dudes, right? Like, I'll tell the truth. I worked in a comic book store when Image Comics was founded, right? So I was there before, during, and in the aftermath. Some of the stuff I saw coming from Image kind of pushed me a little bit away. I mean, I was the hugest Todd McFarlane fan there was, from Amazing Spider-Man and Infinity Inc. and Incredible Hulk and all that stuff. Spawn didn't quite do it for me. His writing on Spider-Man didn't quite do it for me at the time. But that's okay. I was moving on. I was moving away from comics for a while, right? Going to college, doing all kinds of goofy stuff. What I didn't realize is that there were a lot of people reading these comics. I saw it as sort of a speculator-driven thing. Like, I was really against speculation in comics and what that meant. What I didn't realize is that, and I should have, is that the speculation brought in huge amounts of kids, like, for the action, for the trading, for the money, for the whatever. But a percentage of those kids became humongous fans of comics, and then a percentage of those became cartoonists. All right, and we're going to talk to some of those today. Some of those who have been inspired and have worked professionally on other projects. Most of these guys they're kind of brand new to the scene. I'm going to let them tell their stories, okay? But first, let me get a little show business in. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, you might take note of a button down below there that says subscribe. If you click that thing, then you'll become a subscriber. And then if you click that little bell thing, you'll get notifications about all the awesome videos that I'm going to drop. Like, oh my gosh, I've got another video coming up tomorrow. I've got it. Oh boy, this was a controversial one, but it got a lot of views. So let's see if we can do it again. We're going to bring back Ethan Van Sciver. We brought him in before, and we kind of beat him up a little bit. And he may or may not have deserved that. I don't know. We're going to talk, but we're going to talk. I kind of regret it. I was in a weird emotional state when that show happened. So I want to try it a slightly different way. I'm not letting anybody off the hook. I'm not flipping. I'm not heel turning. I'm not a Comicsgate guy. I never will be. But I am a, like, talk with people and try to understand where they're coming from kind of guy. So that's what we're going to do. If you're not into that, I have one suggestion. Don't watch. Okay, so let's bring in the conversation to something more fun. Let's talk about Image Grand Design, but I think we're in the wrong place. I think we need to take it out of the bookshelves and into the back cave. I'm in here somewhere. Because, I tend to have different backgrounds for different guests sometimes, right? And the back cave is where I go for the most fun. This is like the most hardcore part of where I am, because this is Batman 66 is like where it all began for me. So I try to use this like this is what brought me into comics. Just like Image Comics might have been what brought a lot of these guys into comics. So have I rambled enough? Yes. Okay, let me bring in the mastermind behind this thing, the dude who helped bring it all together. He was pulling the strings behind the scenes. I mean, he wrote the intro. So let's bring him in right now from Cosmic Lion. Eli Schwab, welcome back.
What's up? What's up? Mastermind is a little bit of an overstatement, but you know.
I don't know, pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Puppet master, maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna say, dude, a book this thick with this many collaborators, logistically alone is it was a big effort. So hats off to you on that one.
Thank you. Put those hats back on, and let's. I'm just kidding. No, you know, it couldn't have been done without all the amazing people. Tons of them are here tonight. Everyone did a ton of work. I mean, you know, writing the intro was just a small part of the immense work done.
Okay, I usually wait a little bit later in the show, but I'm going to go straight in to the $1 Million Comic Scam because I want to make sure before we go, you know, I've looked at this book before. Kurt Burdick, friend of the show. I reviewed his Kickstarter, Fey Archaic. He's got a new Kickstarter coming next week, and I just am so busy. I don't know if I'm going to have time to have him come in before it launches. So I just wanted one more time to get people to go check out Galacto Pit Fighter on Kickstarter. Kurt Burdick, really great comic.
Nice.
Great looking.
Respect.
Okay. And we got now with the all new $1 Million Comic Cam, including
what happened? What happened?
Pan and scan action now, Eli. We've got it as you like it. So tell me how this thing came together in the cover and just give me the elevator pitch for Image Grand Design.
Of course. The elevator pitch is that it started off with an idea by Ed Piscor on the tails of his hip-hop family tree, which is basically hip-hop Grand Design, his X-Men, his critically acclaimed X-Men Grand Design, and then he pitched an idea for something that could link all the original Image creations together. And so we took his story, we transcribed it, Rocco Jerome separated it out. Jerome Cabanatan did that first page, got us all started, and then we wove a narrative through all of Image, and then with that came its flip side, Image Grand Disaster.
Okay, so explain that. What does that mean? What's the difference?
Image Grand Design is straight from Ed's pitch. We took Ed's pitch, we interpreted it directly, and then filtered it through our creativity and gave you Image Grand Design. Now, Image Grand Disaster is a more creative endeavor where people took the characters that they love, some of the more B-side characters, and wove an insane, wild narrative where every single character from Image that has ever been in Image, like even, you know, people who are just at Image for a second, like the Turtles or Gru or Bone, and we brought them in and we wove this insane story about what happened after Image Grand Design, what happened after the disease took hold and the super freaks took over the world.
So it's fan fiction. It's trying to meld continuities of disparate Image properties and sort of make them into one, you know, grand design, grand unified theory of Image.
Exactly. And we kind of, you know, we took Ed's original pitch, which you can find on the Kayfabe channel, and we just used that as a springboard to like spark our creativity and like get us going and get us moving. And I mean, it was an insane year of creation that I don't think I'd be going too far in saying this, but it changed our lives forever.
Okay, well, let's start bringing, we got a lot of guys to get to. So let's start on the grand design side, and let's, you tell me, man. You mentioned a couple of guys who got the thing kickstarted. So who should we bring?
Well, I mean, we got the cover artist with us right now, David Brouwers. You might know his work from the Wizard cover. You might know his work from the cover of Image Grand Design. And here he is from beautiful Canada. What up, Brow?
That's not very specific.
I know. I
Where
couldn't
at
remember his city name. I thought I was like on top of it, and I was not.
Where are you from, Brouwers?
I'm just outside of Calgary, Alberta.
I knew that's what I was going to say. Calgary.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, do you have any? Do you have a website or anything you'd like to plug or promote here?
Best is like I'm Savage Brouwers on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way to check out my stuff and get a hold of me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Check out Savage Brouwers and tell us what you did on this book, please.
I did the cover, and I did about, I think, 6 pages in total. I got my colorist got Tom Orakowski to letter the pages, which was pretty cool.
Huge.
But
who's Tom Orakowski? For those who don't know,
he's the letterer of Spawn. Thought you did X-Men stuff back in the day, but yeah, he's been Todd scooped him up early on and said, "You come with me."
Yeah, Mage, a ton more stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, the inside cover there is also by another guest we have with us right now, Chris Anderson. He based that off of, I mean, I'll let him tell this, but that's off a convention poster for an early 90s convention that he was at, where he met the original Image founders.
I'm sorry, you said this was Chris Anderson?
Chris Anderson.
Why don't I just pull him in? As you mentioned names, I'm just gonna bring him in, and everybody can just start kind of chiming in. I'm just gonna start going through this. We went through every single page of Image Grand Design.
We did, yeah.
In a previous one, but we wanted to go through and give some shine to the creators. So Eli, you just start naming names, and we'll start bringing.
Well, that's Craig CK again. He's not here with us right now, but Craig is a master.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Well, you got a website or anything you'd like to promote?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and pretty much everything is Chris Anderson Comics. So chrisandersoncomics.com, patreon.com/Chris Anderson Comics, and my Instagram is @Chris Anderson Comics.
Okay.
And there,
easy.
Next to my amazing intro there, as you said, we have the inimitable, amazing Rick Lopez, who did the intro and the outro. Amazing cartoonist, great guy, a friend.
Let me bring him in right now. Rick Lopez, welcome to
Dan?
Comic Book News. Hey, buddy. Hey, man.
How's it going?
I like your shirt.
Thanks, dude.
You got a website or anything you want to promote? Where can people check out your action?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Doomdazed, or Gmail, Rick Lopez Cartoonist at Gmail if you need to reach me. I did the intro for the book. I did the epilogue. This a little bit further. It's past the Craig pages.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, those are Craig's. I did that right there. The credits, like the little, like his
the frontispiece.
Yeah, in Image Grand or in X-Men Grand Design and Fantastic Four Grand Design, they both did something similar. So I put that little deal, and then I did that intro past that. I did one of the covers for Super Tiger, and then I did the outro.
Okay.
And what Rick really did that is like magnificent is he like really wove in not only original Image characters in his intro, but like the new age of Image characters in his outro, which was like just some of the heavy lifting. And look, you pointed out last time, Dan, when we were looking at stuff in the previous page there, some of his callbacks to like old comics and stuff, Rick, and we were like, what is that one? The pills one there?
Oh,
what's that from again? Oh, Gil Kane, yeah.
Gil Kane reference. That's so yeah, it sort of looked it definitely had a look. It reminded me. I was thinking maybe Ditko-ish, like in his Charlton period, sort of. It's got that,
right?
Or even later, the Mr. A period. It's sort of like,
yes,
paranoid. I love it.
That's Sam J. Royal, not with us again tonight, but an amazing artist who did all that with CVS style. But we kind of did this last time.
Yeah, we did. We don't have to. It doesn't have to be when we get to it. I'm just going to sort of
look at those crappy pages. Two of the worst. Two Eli pages here. Yep. Absolutely the worst pages. Just kidding. No, I had fun.
One thing I'm going to say, I love them. The colors throughout. I mean, was everybody responsible for their own colors? How do you work it?
Well, there was a lot of different teams. Like for this one, I did the colors and the letters and stuff, but a lot of different people did a lot of different work. Rick did all his own letters and colors. I think Chris did all his own. Brouwers, like he said, he had Russ do his. This guy didn't have any colors.
Russ, I should say, he's a great colorist. Russ Cassidy, you can follow him. He works for Counterpoint Comics with Marat Michaels.
Oh, that's
okay.
right.
Yeah, so check him out if you ever want to check out some really cool color work.
Yeah, he does amazing work. Yeah, that is Richard Rich, one of Rocco's friends. Now, I do believe that Jerome did some color work on these. If not, I'm pretty sure Jerome Cabanatan colored those, so we could bring him in.
Why don't I bring in Jerome? Jerome.
There he is.
What it be, buddy?
Bring that back in, Jerome.
Hey, yeah. Give us your plug. No, that's great. We see it. We see it perfectly.
Yeah. All right.
Cool, man. So, Jerome, tell us where can we find your work online?
Everything's at Jerome Cab, so JROAMCAB. So you can find me on Instagram there, Twitter, but it's basically my Instagram, and patreon.com/JeromeCab.
So, dude, you like fighting?
Yeah,
I've noticed that.
That's where it is for me.
You got to think for punching. Did you get punched a lot as a kid, or do you punch a lot of people?
He's a professional puncher.
I got punched a lot, kicked a lot, thrown a lot, rocked a lot. Psychologically tortured by my brother, making me eat flour by accident. But that's another thing. That's another comment.
Older brother, right? I had 3 of those. That
was yesterday.
Yeah, these are Nathan Grixey's page.
How did you guys connect in the first place? Is Nathan with us today? You're gonna have to tell me if it's when it's somebody.
Yeah, how did we all come together?
I know there was the kind of the call to action from Ed, but then how did that become?
Well, here's Alan's pages. We could bring Alan in. Yeah, there's Jerome's page number 1 that he did, and we all were in the Cartoonist Kayfabe group.
Okay,
we can bring in Alan Greenwood there. Let me pull in
Alan.
There we go.
These are your pages, huh? Okay.
Yep, those are the Super Patriot Stories mine.
And truly Alan, capturing. Yeah, good.
Where can we find your stuff online, Alan? Give us a plug.
You can find me at Twitter at SuperQuad7, Instagram, The Real SuperQuad7, and you can look me up on Facebook.
Will do. How'd you get involved with these mugs?
Yeah,
I had became a fan of the YouTube channel, and right when I saw the video of the Image Grand Design pitch is right when I joined the Facebook group. When I joined, these guys were already going at it, and I kind of jumped in almost at the tail end.
Oops, I'm gonna zoom
We're glad he did, though, man.
Glad I did too.
Guys, so let me just for the guys who are on the call, who are on here right now. Was Image Comics, was that like your thing when you were a kid? Was that what brought you into comics? I just want to hear some, just like what it meant. Why Image? Like, why do you have the same affection for other comic book companies of that period, or is it like, are you guys like Image devotees?
I was.
Yeah, totally, man. I can tell you a quick story. I brought this up just for this interview, man. This is
please.
Clipping. When I was 13 years old, I entered a Spawn drawing contest. And I got 5th place, but the 2 winners, they straight up jacked Jim Lee's pages. But
now, was this because of was that related to the Spawn movie that was going on? Was that because Spawn had become, hit big and made a media kind of a splash in the media?
The toys just came out, and so I won this Spawnmobile there.
The prize was the Spawnmobile?
That's what I won out of it, yeah. And they said Todd.
Nice.
Stuff, but I don't. But he's from Calgary here, so there's always I was always obsessed with this stuff. So that's where it started for me. What about you guys?
I had jumped ship from collecting Marvel books to Image when Image came out. And the reason was because I was following both Liefeld and McFarlane's work. And Jim Lee, I guess, too, but I was more McFarlane and Liefeld fans. And I was always a comic book fan because of the artwork. And so once these guys formed a company, I was following their artwork. So I followed them basically wherever they went.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
that's
was
exactly
sort of the
what I
thing,
did,
right?
too.
It was sort of the moment when the artist seemed to take prominence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was really like the writer didn't matter. The writer was secondary in many cases.
They made sure that never happened again.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say, I think they overcorrected in the right way, right? Like when they realized, they're like, wow, man, for not that much money, we could bring in an Alan Moore. We could bring in a Neil Gaiman. We could bring in there's a lot of people who we could bring in to bring a little more whatever gravitas to the table.
Yeah.
There's the power, Rick's killer book, previous page there. Here's Anton. Oh yeah. Well,
There's my Supreme page.
Yep, and there's Chris Anderson. But here's Anton W Blake. He's in here.
Okay, let me pull Anton in.
Yep,
This is some of my. I really like this stuff. Hey, Anton.
Hey guys.
Yeah, it's
Anton. Tell us where can we find your stuff?
Easiest way to find me, follow me on Instagram, mighty_peculiar.
Okay, great. Wait, let me. Sorry, dude. This is hard. I've never done a show with this many people, guys. I'm really. This is difficult.
Need octopus arms, man.
Yeah.
Try making a comic with this many people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I hear you. Man, let me get rid of this.
The page that Mark posted today about all the people that were in Image Grand Disaster. I mean, that's even more people than I thought. That was like 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was overestimating when I was saying 50 people, over 50, and it's way more. It's like 80 people now for the whole book.
Mm.
There's more Chris
There's a lot of talent on display in this book. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, raw talent and polished talent as well. Like there's a lot of, especially the storytelling, the layouts and stuff. I find that like a lot of lessons were absorbed here. Like I see good, like the bones of great cartooning here.
Well, if you're gonna homage Image, you can't just do 9-panel grid, you know?
Right.
You got to go 16.
At least. There's Jason
And he did.
Lapidus. He did a page. Terrible cartoonist.
Are we
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Well, Half the Crown is Ro Higashi. She's an amazing cartoonist. Jason Lapidus, however, whoa. Just kidding. I love the dude. I love that guy. He's great.
He's one of the best.
Yeah.
Man, like
there we go. There's some heat
There's
from
more
Brouwers.
Brouwers.
And Tom Warzakowski again.
so how much this really reminds me a little like when I looked at it for a second, I'm like, it kind of had a Gene Ha feel to some of the stuff that I really like.
Who are your influences, Brouwers?
My first influence, and still to this day, I was a huge Arthur Adams mark, man.
Oh yeah, he's the best.
So it was, but like then I started getting into just everybody, right? It ebbs and flows with who you're.
How long did it take between coming up with the pitch and the idea? Like, so how long did it take to get the cartooning done and then the post production to begin? What was do you give me a little bit of the timeline?
It was like 365 days almost to the day that things really started and that the artist print came out. It was basically, and I only know this because Jerome messaged me to get it started on my birthday. And then my next birthday, I was basically like going to print. So that was really easy to keep track of.
I was trying to think about it. What is the most well-known Image property by the mainstream? I think Spawn has to be it.
Spawn.
Gotta be Spawn.
But
Movie,
after Spawn, I go Max. maybe.
I
Well,
mean,
with
but
the
Walking
show,
Dead
yeah.
is even above both of those.
Okay.
right?
Yeah, Walking.
But
I'm
original.
talking. Yeah, early image stuff though,
Mm.
right? Like
Definitely
I don't know what more civilians would know, right, than the Max because of the anime.
And that's of a generational piece. If you were
Yeah.
of age in the 90s when the Max was on MTV, then it's like, I love the Max, Eon Flux, the Head Detective.
Uh-huh.
Detective.
Mike, it's no witch.
Loved that.
No Witchblade.
Forgot about that. Detective.
Then you think Witchblade. This is Michael
Yeah, this
Kemp.
one-
Shout out him.
Really strong piece.
Yeah, Michael Kemp is also a big important part of like how this all started because in the Wizard zine, he had made a fake ad for Image Grand Design that said "coming soon."
Exactly.
Oh, right.
And here we are now.
That soon is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, all from like kind of a throwaway gag, right?
It really was, yeah. Though I wonder if Michael really thought, like what Michael thought while he was making that was he was like, I wonder if this is gonna like get people to start moving, or here's Rex and Tex, and we're about to come up on Burgess Meredith's pages again. That's Christian Mizimo, just a absolute
Nice looking stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love a good boy. How about a Boing Thump reference? I just realized that's a WYSIWYG reference from Ed Piskor's WYSIWYG, right? Boing
Nice.
Thump was
The guy's username,
Kevin.
right?
It's Kevin.
yeah. That was his Kevin Mitnick. Yeah.
All right, now we're coming up to David Grom's pages here. He's in the green room.
Okay, let me pull David
The
in.
very green room. Brown chicken.
Oh man, look at all these little postage stamps we got over here on the side. It's like
Like the Brady Bunch.
it's almost it's sort of like Dark Knight Returns with the little talking heads all over the page.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait a minute. So who did I just bring in? Grom. Let's all hail Grom. Hang on, Grom.
Hey there.
That's a great name, by the way. Grom. That sounds like something
thank you.
someone Conan might worship or something.
That's what I've
tell
been
us where
saying
can we-
forever.
where can we find your stuff? Where can we find your stuff, Grom?
You can find me on Instagram at uncle_atomic_press. And you can also find me along with Eli, Rick, and Craig on Webtoon at Next Panel Press.
Okay, awesome.
Our new strip will be coming out tomorrow.
We only got two more guys in the
Actually, I wanted
green
to
room
say something
right now.
just real quick about the page back behind where
sure.
Max rips Violator's arms off. I remember Rocco was talking about, because he was coordinating a lot of the page count and everything in the beginning, and I was like, hey man, I think I'm going to need about 7 pages, maybe 8 pages to do all this. And he thought for a minute that it was just going to be 7 pages of Max ripping off Violator's arms. And I had to explain to him, like, no, dude, but like that would be pretty epic.
That's the comic I want to see for sure.
I can fill it in.
That's the like
Brouwers.
Dragon Ball Z like pacing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the other two guys that are waiting are two of the architects of Image Grand Disaster. So
Okay, I think
maybe if
I
this
think
is
I might
gonna
as
be
well
that.
flip it over then. Yeah,
Exactly,
Let me flip it over, and let's bring in who should we bring in first?
Mark Darden is the architect, and Tony Fero
let's
did the
bring in-
logo as well as a ton of pages.
Let's bring in the Guano guy. Here he is. We're looking at your stuff, plugging away. Well plugged, my friend. Mark, tell us where we can find your stuff.
So there's a Guano guy on Kickstarter right now. It's 4th Kickstarter, 8th issue. And you can find me on Facebook or the Guano guy on Facebook. Either one works.
Okay, awesome. And now, Alan, we can only have 10 people at a time, and Alan graciously volunteered to bow out for a minute. So, Alan Greenwood, thank
You'll need
you.
to bring me back in just a minute.
Yeah, because he has pages in
I would-
faster.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, then who do we bring out here? Somebody's got to go, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, Anton and Grom, I don't think have pages. in
Brouwers
faster.
already pulled out, so let's
Oh,
bring in
boom.
Tony.
All right.
Let's bring in Tony Fero.
Oh yeah.
Tony, hey, how you doing, man?
Muted, bud.
You're muted, Tony.
Unmute, Tony.
Sorry about that. My head cut off, or is that just me?
It is.
Oh, your audio stinks, dude. But tell us quickly, where can we find your stuff?
You can't.
Can't hear you, dude.
Oh, no.
Okay, somebody else is gonna fill us in with a plug for Tony while he gets his audio situation sorted out.
Okay,
And
Tony's Rubber Wolf Comics.
Yeah.
And he's got a slew of awesome stuff at Rubber Wolf. All kinds of barbaric swords, slashing, lots of action.
21st century big spider.
Yeah.
You gotta get those. Number 3's out now.
One of his comics too is a flip book as well, like ours, and one side is like a 80s outlaw comic, and the other side is like a
And Tony colored this opening.
Can you hear me any better now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a Bluetooth speaker
way
connected.
better.
Gotcha.
Sorry
Yeah,
about
way
that.
better, Tony.
Sorry about that.
Okay, give us your Tony. This is so you colored this. We were just talking about you.
Mm-hmm. I colored the first 6 pages, I believe, something like that.
I really
And-
like this.
and it
I like
created
this
the
panel
logo.
a lot. I like this panel a lot.
Wasn't that one of the very first panels that were pitched? That was like the very first Image Grand Disaster, other than like Jerome stories. That was like the first page that Greg pitched.
No,
Yep.
Yeah.
He inked that. He inked that in the Zoom.
That's right.
That
Yeah,
when we
yeah,
were talking.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a really cool
Another-
page.
When you kind of felt like, what? I'm out of my league here.
And somehow hype or not from 1963 crept into this project. I mean, I guess it counts, right? It's fair game. But is this the only 1963 in there?
No,
I'm trying to remember.
there's several more.
Brouwers.
Well, I'm trying to remember what's the other
Yeah, Brouwers drew the Fury.
There's
and,
Planet. I
Planet.
remember a couple. Yeah, I remember a couple of references to. Oh man, this is really.
He drew
cool.
similar characters, similar looking characters. I don't know if they're necessarily the actual Fury.
There's my Youngblood story.
There you go, Alan.
All the rest of this image guys.
This is Alan.
Yep,
Dude,
it's fine.
that bike character is insane.
This one's great because it's basically Blood Wolf taking credit for design.
Yeah. So just a little story about that one. When I signed up, I mentioned earlier that I kind of couldn't even on the tail end of things, and I was afraid I couldn't get anything, and so I ended up writing that story kind of as a workaround so I could draw everything.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an awesome story.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting lost in my stuff here. Hang on a second.
That's
Okay.
Dr. Ben Anthony right there. Super fun story. And another thing that they did, there's these like intro and outro panels. So giant graphics
Love it.
for you 90s stoners out there.
This just felt. Yeah, this stuff I really like too. I love underground stuff, and this side of the book tried to bring a lot of that feel into it, and I really appreciated that.
I mean, there was really like less restrictions on the disaster side. I mean, it was really like do whatever you want, man. And you know, there's something to be said for that. Absolutely. The freedom and then also for the digital version available at imagegranddesign.com right now, Mark did some amazing overhaul work. Not necessarily overhaul, but like remodeling in a way that took something that was amazing and made it even more amazing, honestly. And we're super, super indebted to him for his tireless work.
So, guys, I love you, man. How have you heard from, or how many like image people have you sent this out? Have you gotten any reaction from any of the image founders? I see 2 fingers up there.
Liefeld DM'd me about it.
The day the design came out, too.
Yeah, for real. I mean, he retweeted my shot for shot remake of the Levi's 501 jeans commercial that he made. He retweeted that, and that got.
Can I say, by the way, mwah.
Thank you. My girlfriend is a professional editor, so that helped a lot.
But I'm just gonna say you nailed the style, everything down to it, and even down to just Rob's just kind of twitchy weirdo affect in that video. Like you nailed it.
We watched it. It was like on repeat on the TV. That was like just out of frame, so I could keep like referring to it. The McFarlane colostomy bag is also available on imagegranddesign.com for a limited time.
I'll just say this: if there was a dime to be made in colostomy bags, Todd would be making it.
He would have found it.
Yeah.
He'd be the king of that industry right now.
So that's my work right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was a cool story because it was written and there were layouts, but then the creator had to step away because he was just busy, and Alan stepped in and drew it, and I got a chance to script it, which was really cool to, for on my end. Like, it was really fun to see somebody's story and have to figure out the script with everything already there. And Alan's art was so good.
So was that the common way of working, or was it mostly solo efforts or collabs and like that work in Marvel method, or what?
It was all different methods. There was no one way. It was a lot. There was a lot of cases where it was just fill in. Like somebody had something, but they needed something, and people just jumped on it to help finish it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This was definitely one of the more lurid stories.
Image After Dark.
Yes. Yes.
This one's a little more kid friendly in the PDF.
The digital we made some changes.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a bonus story pages in the digital version and 3 more pinups.
Yeah.
Wait, so is this the uncensored? Is the digital or the
No, the print copy?
I got
is
the goods.
uncensored.
We got the goods.
Okay, that's all I want. That's all I need to know. I got the goods.
The limited edition.
man.
Way further in the digital.
This Gru story, we also did a little editing in the digital.
There was a minor. And it's funnier. It's funnier with the edit.
And it was only a color change. None of the art was changed. They merely changed the color. I mean, the Bone story here. Look at that. You had that ready. Stan and Mark. And who's the second from the left?
Tom Luth, the colorist.
Tom Luth, right.
Part of the Gru crew. He's semi-retired now. But, dude, Stan is still in the prime. Stan is about to explode into the mainstream with the Netflix thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be awesome. Oh, and I forgot. I brought along these fellas.
Hey.
Yeah.
Guys,
just
go
to
easy
see
on us.
just to see what they think. So you got a nod of approval from Rob Liefeld.
Yeah. Nathan Grixty sent his Savage Dragon pages to Eric Larson. And he said that he liked it and he approves as long as we don't mess with his continuity, which made me then create a warning message at the beginning of the book that said, no continuity was harmed in the making of this book.
that I had Eric Larson on the show before, and that what you just said makes me love him. Right?
Yeah,
he's like,
sure.
I thought you were gonna say for sure, like, don't fuck with my copyrights, kid, or you know what I mean? But don't mess with my continuity. What a dork. I mean that in the best way.
He spent all this time.
Way.
Yeah, I believe when Grixie had messaged us about it, I believe the wording he said was that, like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. Some of the order is a little off, but that's good.
Yeah, exactly. This is Tony McMillan, an amazing artist. Please find his work. You'll love it. He's very good.
Good looking stuff.
The next page. If you look on the next page, on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
That last panel. That's me trying to be like Tony.
That was a good one too, because they really make it seamless.
I did at the beginning of the story too. So it's like that was one of the things that towards the end when we had to, because we're trying to make everything tie in. Like everyone's story is going to tie in. Like we had there's some people left like spaces on their pages. So towards the end we were trying to figure it out. They're like, there's these panels that you got to do, and I was like, all right, cool. And then
I
saw it,
didn't.
was like
I'm
20
even learning
pages.
stuff
I was like,
tonight.
oh, man.
I see. So you had to. So you really kind of had to. You had to sort of fill in the blanks and stitch things a little bit together.
Frankenstein, yeah.
Yeah.
That was like the framing mechanism that was created to place some of the stories that were just like wide open, and just people did kind of whatever they wanted.
I wouldn't have noticed. I can now that you mention it, I can see, but like I wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah. Yes.
You like this one, Jerome?
Yes, I do. But I was actually guessing the fact that they didn't notice. I was like, yes.
Didn't notice.
These are all good ones.
Tony's hard, man.
Move.
Cartooning is a lot like that. There's a lot of jobs like that where it's like you only get noticed if you mess it up.
Yep.
Sorry,
It's like
Jerome,
all lettering.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know. Like nobody goes the great letterer. They just go like, "Oh my gosh, that's a terrible kerning."
Yeah.
Get your kerning in line here.
Yeah, some Corey Corcoran Boof.
Corcoran. This is image, like this very much looks like the Booth era stuff, I think.
Yeah, I think he killed it. Yeah, it was one of the funny things. Like as the whole project was starting. So I'm based in Austin. Corey is as well, and like as we were both like working on our pages, I ended up going over and buying a bunch of comics from his garage. Like he was helping one with like selling a whole collection from like a friend's estate sale essentially. And so I went over there like all masked up and everything. And we're just first time we'd even like actually talk to each other other than just following each other on Instagram. And we just shot the shit like as I perused all these comics and talked about like, oh, you're doing Booth? Oh, cool. I'm doing some Trencher pages. Oh yeah, what's going on?
Oh, that's so cool, man.
Who did these pages? Or is this someone on the call now? The ones we're looking at?
I don't think so. Mark,
No,
who did those?
the artist isn't here, but Sam did the colors. Sam stepped in and did the colors. And this is one of the first ones where I started doing edit work to try and help get scripts done.
This is another strong. I like this whole page a lot, and I like this guy's style a lot.
Is that colored?
Yeah, there's such a like assortment of cool styles. I mean,
Yes.
it's a smorgasbord. It's like going to a buffet and just seeing awesome dish after awesome dish.
Yeah, it's
There you
pretty
go,
cool
John.
seeing. It's pretty cool seeing them all side by side this way with the sort of subject matter tying it all together.
Grom, you want to tell them?
Yeah, that there it is. That's me there.
But there's 3 more pages to this story that's in the digital.
I could have guessed by the number of punches per page.
But I got to draw like some of the creators' comics. Like Raphael's got he's got a spinner rack, and he's got some of their indie stuff of some of the guys. So if you go down, there you can see like on the spinner rack, you'll see some of the guys' stuff there.
It's hard to tell on the.
Yeah, it's really small, but it was just one of those things that it was a fun panel to do.
And you even got to put Ed and Jim in those pages, huh?
Yeah,
they show up quite a few times. Guys, what do you think it is about their show and what they're doing on YouTube that kind of galvanized this community around it? What do you think it is? I'm not jealous. I'm not saying why wasn't it me.
I have a theory on that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not a crazy theory or anything, but I think that they were the first people that I saw on YouTube they had an equal amount of love for independent and like underground stuff.
Yeah.
And for mainstream superhero stuff. And there wasn't like, it felt like for a long time before that, you kind of had to choose a side, and I think that they kind of brought all those people together, so it's like you don't have to hide your love and rockets from the mainstream guys, and you don't have to hide your mainstream from the Fantagraphics people. It's like we can all live together in harmony.
Tony, you nailed it. I think you nailed it, dude. I really do, because that's the thing for me, for sure. Because I just like, if you like comics the way I like comics, which is the way those guys like comics, it doesn't really matter what kind of comic. You know what I mean? Like all the most hardcore people that I know, there's no way you loved Love and Rockets if you hadn't at least at one time, loved Spider-Man. There's such a huge overlap between those crowds, and people always try to separate them. Like, I like this kind of comics or that kind of comic. And even I did that. Like, you think, oh, I'm too cool for superheroes or whatever.
Yep.
And it's just not the case. I think you nailed it with that one, Tony.
And it might even be like, in covering Wizard from the start, Wizard kind of covered a little bit of all that stuff too, and so and with like a Palmer's Picks type thing, when they were like separating that out, remember, like at first when they were covering Wizard, they would then separate out their Palmer's Picks thing, so then they would be covering Azrael and Nightfall, but then also they would be covering Raw, or they'd be covering Love and Rockets and stuff, and then they'd pull that out because they knew that that's what like they liked. But
this one's John Ashton Golden, and so he's got this really cool 8-pager here, and he's got a new page in the digital one. He's one of the guys that stepped in and helped finish out these extra pages.
It's good looking stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Jag.
Yeah, I thought that it was sort of like a false dichotomy that I went through. That's why I rejected Image, like I was talking about at the beginning of the show. It was like, oh, I don't like this stuff. But it's only when you realize that, like, it's not meant for me. It wasn't meant for me at college age. It was meant for you guys who were like 10 years younger than me, and it was sucking you in like nothing else.
I just remember
I was
that
like 13 or 14, so exactly. Like that was exactly the right age.
Yeah,
I just remember that Spawn #1 in the bagging board from behind the counter at the comic book store, staring down on me like through my whole childhood. Not my whole childhood, but from ages 10 till like 15, and it's just being like this mystical thing. And then 10 years later, I find it in a quarter bin, and I'm like,
Well, there was comics were amazing in that period. I just think in general, like, even if you look like you were talking about the Wizard, what about, the Comics Journal of that era? I mean, they would cover stuff that they haven't covered. They would cover all kinds of stuff from all over the mainstream, as well as, the underground. And it just seems like somewhere along the way, they just decided to leave behind anything that had like the trappings of popularity, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wizard just seems more fun than, I don't know, Comics Journal. Like, well, Comics Journal has like the info and the great interviews, but Wizard had, but Wizard had this like sense of fun, the Mort of the Month, casting call, the drawing board, the toys, it seemed more fun, and obviously they were aimed at a younger demographic, and Comics Journal was aimed at a little bit older, but
at 15 there was no way I was going to read a 50-page interview.
I was looking at those pages. I almost didn't read Wizard. I mean, more than
the envelope art, it was really cool.
The which one?
The envelope art, all the cool art.
Yeah, it had a lot of stuff. It did a good job of setting up the next generation of comic buyers and creators, I think, It certainly sucked me in at that time.
You know what killed me? It was the price guide part of it.
Of course.
But it was critical to it. That was what it would not have been successful without that price guide at all.
No, not in the beginning anyway.
It was our monthly stock market.
Yeah. It's how I convinced my parents to let me spend $50 on cable #1,
Yeah, that was the thing. I worked at a comic book store from when I was like 11 years old. Like I said, that was 1986. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm going there. I'm going every week. I'm buying comics. I'm learning about the history of comics from all these people that love comics. And then this stuff started to come around, and it just seemed such a crass speculator-driven thing. But at the same time, there's no doubt these guys really love comics, some more than others, right? But like when I look at an Eric Larson, I go like, he's the real deal.
He certainly is.
Yeah.
He loves comics. Like he doesn't have to keep doing the Dragon. There's no way he has to keep doing the Dragon, but he just does it. It doesn't sell very well, I'm sure, but he's probably losing money on the Dragon. But like he just loves making comics and he loves telling his story. He made all his money off the Dragon in the beginning. He's good.
Probably
I go. In this age, though, of superhero movies and properties and everything else, we have not really seen a lot of exploitation of the Image properties in a way that, outside of Kirkman.
Yeah, not since.
Yeah, because it's not as popular as it was then. If we were living in the same media age that we are now, then I'm sure it would have exploded. They definitely tried with the Spawn cartoon and things like that. It only lasted a season.
Yeah, there was a Wildcat.
Yeah, there was a Savage Dragon cartoon. They never hooked.
None of them hit. Yeah, none of those hit. The Max, I feel like, hit consciousness
because it was weird and it was MTV.
MTV, yeah.
And it was
MTV. It was weird, but it was also just the personal nature of what the Max is and what he brought to it. Just made it such a weirdly different than every other Image book out there.
Well, and the other ones took themselves too seriously. Like the Spawn cartoon, it's not great. It's not very good. It's like a little too. Honestly, I haven't watched it other than on VHS, so it's been a minute. But I just remember it being boring as hell back then. Am I wrong, y'all? Have you seen it recently?
I watched it.
No.
You like it, Alan?
But I remember enjoying it. But those awesome promos, of like Todd at the drawing board.
Oh, Todd at the beginning. Oh yeah. Glorious hair, New York alleys.
I gotta find those. I
think it's on one of those. Nice.
Here's little me with Todd at the '92 Chicago Comic-Con when they launched.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome!
And fast forward.
That is awesome, guys. I'm going to open it up to some viewer questions. If anybody's got anything, we've got 11 people still watching now. That's not too bad. Mitchell Coleman says, "How's it going?" Hey, Mitchell.
Super good, Mitchell.
Doing okay.
Christine E. Bayuga says, "OMG, Christine E. Bayuga is my ex-girlfriend from many years ago. I haven't seen her in a long time.
OMG is right.
Cheese ball. I could go for some cheese balls right now.
Thanks, Christine. Thank you. Appreciate it. Is this what was featured on Cartoonist Kayfabe a while back? Yes.
Yep.
Man, the guys did give their love to you. I reached out to them to see if they were available. Unfortunately, they were both too busy to be able to drop in on this thing. They had some other obligations, and I didn't give them any kind of notice to be able to do it. But tell me, what did it mean to you to see them really, really embrace and give you guys a humongous shout out like that?
I'd like to start with Jerome on this one.
Yeah.
He loved it. No, we all did, but I just remember you freaking, dude.
It was just a huge win for everybody, really.
Yeah.
Right. It's just something where the whole world went upside down. Nobody knew what to do. So, we could have just binged more. We could have just binged more art and just consumed everything. But we put our energy towards creating something, and that was huge. And to be recognized by, the people, they're like, in my head, they're kind of like they're the players in the game. They're all stars in the game. So to just be kind of noticed, it's kind of like when the Bean Joe says, "Just here, kid," and I get the towel. That's what it felt like. You're like,
yeah. Oh, the Coke commercial, right? Dude,
good analogy.
Yeah, that's great.
Bean Joe.
I'll tell you, I felt the same way, man, when a long time ago when I did my over a year ago now when I did my first Steve Jeppy stream, and I was just watching Cartoons Kayfabe, and then Ed brought it up, and he goes, "I watched the stream. It was great." And he said, "There's one other comic book channel out there, at least, trying to do something a little bit different." So I really appreciate that. I appreciate that you guys put this labor of love together. Sequential Geek, longtime watcher, says, "Don't forget Pacific Comics out of the 70s. Bill Shannis was a guest on this show, and we're going to bring him back soon, too." I think if you guys didn't read, The Rocketeer, Grew, how many incredible books broke through Bill Shannis and Pacific Comics. It was just
Pacific Comics Grand Design.
Yeah, I'm down for that 100%.
Oh, dude. Well, now the name Pacific Comics is owned by Eric Stevenson.
Oh, yeah.
He bought that name supposedly to put out more comics.
Wow.
That's news to me.
Yeah.
I would love to see. If you want to do Pacific Comics Grand Design, I would love to see the Rocketeer, meets Gru, meets who else? Who else would they meet? Dalgota, maybe. No, was that start? I don't even.
You think Rocketeer's owned by Disney now, though, or something?
Yeah,
probably sold.
That'd be
off.
kind of fun because I don't know anything about like Pacific Comics, and that was part of the joy of this project. Was I wasn't a huge Image fan. It was like the guys that left X-Men. Like that's what was stuck. In my head, right? But I wanted to know, and now like Nathan Grixby's Savage Dragon, that's canon to me. I don't need to buy 200 more issues. There, 8 pages right there. Right, so
when it's all said and done, guys, when we go, let's say 50 years into the future, I'll probably be dead, most likely by then. Odds are I will be dead if we believe the actuarial charts. I think people will still talk about Stan and Jack and a bunch of other. How you think that people are still going to be talking about Image Comics 50 years from now?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to be talking about Image Grand Design in 50 years. I'll be talking about it.
From the nursing home.
It's going to be a heck of a reunion.
Oh my God. Okay, I mean, they did something that no one else did, which was leave their, the top. They went out at the top on the Image of Marvel Comics. They left and they started their own company. And for good or ill, they did awesome, and they left at the top, and made it wasn't like Operation Ivy who just like quit and then they kind of did whatever. It was like they left the top and then disappeared and then came back out at the top, and then all of a sudden they're signing Eazy-E's comics or whatever, and they're doing all this huge.
I
stuff.
think that was their real legacy.
Yeah,
is they were the first ones to really prove that it was the creators that mattered more than the characters, right? Like, Todd could have kept drawing Spider-Man for the rest of his life, and he probably would have made pretty good money doing it, and would have been. We might have even been talking about it, but like, I don't think we would be talking about him in the way that we're talking about him now. I think he would just be one in another long line of jobbers, right?
Yeah. Well, they all kind of took the role of like comic book artist and grew it into something more. They most of them, sorry, not all of them, but most of them became more. Like they ran their own companies, or I mean, in Todd's case, he did all of the stuff, bought baseballs and started this action figure. Really changed as much as he did for Spider-Man. He also did that for action figures, if not more. And all the stuff that Todd did, and Larson just continued to break records. Liefeld, movie deals, and change the way the human skeleton is depicted. Just kidding, I love you. No,
change podiatry forever.
Just kidding.
Jim Lee got them super close to being editor-in-chief of Marvel. Was super close. Who did? Instead, art director of DC.
Jim Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim.
Yeah.
That's he has the most interesting, one of the more interesting legacies to me. Because I feel like he kind of, I don't know. He kind of disappeared to me when he went to DC, like in this role as creative director, especially now after Didio has left. I don't know. Jim Lee's out there selling backpacks, like convention special.
Hey, he changed the world of backpacks, though.
Yeah, he changed the world. I think he was a super savvy businessman. That was his thing above all. I think he was probably academically smart, the smartest of any of the Image founders. You know, we went to Yale or something like that, right? Or something.
Yeah, he was going to be a doctor or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he had a lot of savvy.
Well, but then also he probably had one of the bigger books with Hush. I mean, that's coming out of Image. I mean, is there a bigger book than that one of the Image creators worked on, other than their own creator owned, that other than Hush? Or I mean, maybe Life Feels Heroes Reborn or something. Yeah.
Good question. I Hush was not my favorite,
but it was a big event. It was a very big event, very big draw.
Yeah.
It was, but it's not a work that I find myself going back to.
No.
Right.
You know,
I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I thought it was kind of Jeff Loeb was the writer on that, right? And
yeah.
So yeah. Long Halloween is a more interesting one to revisit.
Yeah. Any of those Loeb sales.
I thought Superman for All Seasons. Superman for All Seasons to me is the best of them all. And then it all kind of, I don't know, Loeb really went off the deep end when he did Ultimates 3, and then some of his follow-up work at Marvel was not my favorite.
Yeah, it's hard to stay on
without
top.
Sale does not work for me. I feel like the Sale has to be there.
I think I agree with you because Sale has such a restrained, classy style. Mm-hmm. And then if you look at all the stuff he wrote, like look at Ultimates 3 or the Red Hulk stuff, like there ain't nothing restrained or classy about those books for sure.
No.
Yeah, I remember reading like all that stuff around that time. It was like just before, I guess, like the more modern era. Like it was just before like Twitter and Instagram, all the like normal stuff that we like share things through. I was on some like small comics forum, and I was the like guy reviewing comics for it. And I was reading so much mainstream stuff, and just constantly thinking like, why is Loeb putting out all of these kinds of books that I don't really get anymore? And I know like at the time he was also like transitioning into writing for TV, like he was on Lost and a couple other things. So who knows what it was? Mm-hmm.
Oh, not Lost, Heroes. I was thinking. But
yeah, I think he was brought in a lot for his TV connections and stuff like that, and then he went off to do some of the few failures in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Like the was it the Eternals? That piece of garbage, that IMAX thing that they did.
Oh, no, that was
Inhumans.
Yeah.
Not Eternals. Sorry,
Inhumans.
Yeah,
that was rough. It was so bad. God, it was so bad. Number 1, episode 1. Let's cut off Medusa's hair so we don't have to spend money on special effects. What?
And if it was that easy, why would that be such a good power? Like, oh, you're really powerful. So I have clippers on me.
Shave your head with normal clippers.
Scissor man.
Let's kill Triton because we can't do any water stuff.
And Inhumans work great not on their own. Their comics not great on their own. They're great. They were great in the FF, right? That's how they need to do that stuff.
I was playing Jenga the other day, and I was like, Karnak would be so good at Jenga.
Karnak's badass. Did you ever read the Warren Ellis Karnak series?
Oh, the first couple issues. Yeah, that was good.
That was pretty good. That's one I'll give up for modern Inhumans.
And Joe Madera did. Sorry, Tony. Go ahead.
The one that was great was the Jose Ladron did a series in the late '90s, I think, early 2000s.
Marvel Knights one?
No, it was just a limited series. Like I think it was 4 issues, and I don't know who wrote it, but Ladron did the artwork, and it was phenomenal. Yeah. He's an amazing artist. I don't know whatever happened to him.
He's really great. Yeah. I haven't seen him for a few years.
Yeah. I don't know. He sort of disappeared.
A lot of these guys, some of the best guys that you see, it's so easy for them to get a job working at a video game company or a production studio or something like that.
Like Joe
where their
Mad.
Yeah, dude. Where their talent is appreciated
or they're paid money.
And they get paid.
Yeah.
Dan
Trust me,
Frog
I-
and Stephen Platt come to my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Well, Brian Hitch, I had him in here a couple of weeks ago, and that's a guy who he could go anywhere, any production studio, like they will appreciate him and give him the money to design stuff. But he's like, no, I want to draw Hawkman for a year.
Mhm.
You know, like
I respect those people. I respect those people who love comics so much that they have to do comics. They can't do anything else. They have to feel that, that passion for comics, and nothing else, even though they're getting more money, it doesn't do it for them.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Tony! You just summed up what this whole project and this whole show is all about.
Yeah, exactly. None of us got paid for this.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better note. I gotta wrap this up pretty soon, guys. I'm sorry. I have so much on my plate right now. But let me go one more time. Let's go around the table as I bring you out one at a time. Here's what I'm gonna do. Watch the screen. I'm gonna isolate you. And you're gonna give your plug one last time, and then I'll pull you out. Okay. So let's go around with Anton.
You can find me on Instagram at mighty_peculiar. If you want to find some other comics work of mine other than Image Grand Design that's out right now, you can head over to hy-brazal.com. That's hy-breasal.com. It's a zine that my good friend John Quinones also did this. Puts out every year. It has one of my stories as well.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, Anton.
Thanks, guys. See you.
All right. How about Jerome?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JRoamCab. That's JROAMCAB, or on patreon.com/JRoamCab. Spelled the same way. You can find my stuff on Amazon, Tree Kids of Troop 44 for the kids, and then for the younger kids, ABCs of Hi-Ya.
Wait a second, Jerome.
What's up?
Wait a minute, pal. How come I haven't got a copy of those yet?
Because you haven't bought them on Amazon, homie.
Well, I think that's a good answer, but I think you got to send me a copy. You got to send it. And if you out there want to see your comics on this show on the $1 Million Comics Camp, you got to send it in to the $1 Million mailbox, P.O. Box 1163, Arcata, California, beautiful Arcata, California, 95518. Sorry, I forgot to do that plug. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jerome.
Just setting it up, man.
You guys get a
Send some comics to me, man. I'll review them. I'll bring them in. We'll talk. I would love to see your stuff.
Maybe the next one.
Okay. Thanks, buddy. All right. Let's go with my man, Tony Fero. Give us your plugs, Tony.
All right. Can you see me? I can't see myself.
We see you.
Okay, good. I thought my screen was frozen or something. But yeah, so you can find me mostly on Instagram, BigTony308, rubberwolf.com. There's not much there, but you can find links there. And speaking of the $1 Million mailbag, you may find some of my stuff if you dig through there, because I sent you some stuff about a year ago.
What?
Yeah. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it got lost in the mail, but I sent it to you like a year ago.
What books? Tell me the name of the book.
Couple books. So 21st Century of Big Spider is my main book.
Yeah.
I've done 3 issues of that. Huge. Book called Ulf Maverick.
So good. Is that the flip book?
Yeah.
So good.
I didn't get that, Tony. I don't think I got that.
Right.
I'm calling.
Dig through your mailbag and let me know. And if
I
if
will.
Not, I'll send you some more.
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
I will. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, now let's talk. Hey, how about Mark? Tell us about Guano Guy and give us your plugs.
Yeah, you can find the Guano Guy on Kickstarter. Whole new Kickstarter. It's a really fun, funny book. It's like a Cartoon Network, but in paper format. If like Seinfeld was a cartoon show on Cartoon Network but had superpowers. It's really about almost nothing, but they're a bunch of funny jerks. And so, yeah, Kickstarter right now. And then on Facebook, Mark Darden or the Guano Guy. Talk to me. Oh, Guano Guy #1 is a free download, so check it out on Kickstarter. Free download. Grab Guano Guy #1, check it out.
All right, thank you. You know I love free comics. I'm not cheap. Thanks, Mark. All right, Alan Greenwood.
Hey, you can find me on Twitter right here, SuperQuad7. You can find me on Instagram, the _real_SuperQuad7, and you can also look me up on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan. See you around.
All right.
Okay, we're coming round to the end. Chris Anderson, make it happen.
All right. You can find my work in several of the latest issues of Heavy Metal Magazine. You can get my creator-owned books, Lost Angels and One Shot Horror, which are a bunch of 12-page short horror stories, on my website, chrisandersoncomics.com. It's also my Instagram at Chris Anderson Comics, and I have a Patreon at Chris Anderson Comics, also, or Patreon/Chris Anderson Comics, and also I have a Kickstarter coming out in the next month or two called Chaotic Neutral. It's kind of the Dungeons and Dragons that your grandmother thought that you were playing in the basement. So yeah, you can check all of those out.
Nice. Luckily, Chris Anderson is such an uncommon name. People will probably.
So I know. But you put comics at the end of it, so.
Okay, easy. Well, send some of those comics into me too, and I want to look at them on screen, Chris.
All right.
Thanks, pal. Eli.
Yes, sir.
It's me and you. Bring us home with this thing.
All right, you can find me on CosmicLionProductions.com. That's where you'll find my 3 podcasts, Cosmic Lion Radio, featuring comic book creators and music personalities talking about music, comics, and building a mixtape. Can I Thwip It? The hip-hop and comics podcast featuring MC Manis. Just Manis, not MC, but that's what he does. And also The Devil in Detail, the Grendel Reread podcast. Brand new episode coming out tomorrow on YouTube, at Cosmic Lion on Instagram.
Awesome,
and
man.
Don't forget imagegranddesign.com, where you can right now get Image Grand Design PDF for $5, PDF or CBR, and Image Grand Disaster for an additional $5. All proceeds go to the Hero Initiative. All money after the small print run go to the Hero Initiative, and we're almost at $3,000 raised for Hero Initiative from this project.
What's Hero Initiative do for those who don't know?
Well, Hero Initiative helps out creators, comic book creators that are in need, that need help, that aren't maybe able to find jobs and are having a tough time in their life. They help them out, and especially through this time of COVID, that the more money they can raise, the more that they can help the creators that are in need.
Awesome, man. Thank you. You know, I got a need from you. I need you to help me get a hold of Matt Wagner one of these days, because I still can't get my hands on that guy.
I know, man. I have a chat with him. I speak with him once a week or so I'll hit him up.
Hit him up for me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Eli.
Of course.
Thank you for everything that you do.
Yeah, man. Glad we got everyone together.
I'm glad we did too. Stick around if you want. I got to do my outro thing. I'll be there in a minute.
Cool.
Thanks, Eli.
Yeah, man. Thank you, guys.
And thank you for watching this show. That was exciting, man. We had 11 people here, 10 guests and myself talking about Image Grand Design. This thing is this. It's a self-described. It's described as a love letter to the Image founders. I think that's what you do when you blatantly violate copyright, is you call it a love letter. I think that's the move. Anyway, I'm sure it's going to work out, because I think that those guys have there's only things positive mojo coming out of this thing, especially donating the profits of the print copies that are out there to the Hero Initiative. I wish I could say my money went to the Hero Initiative. I got mine for free. That's the benefits of running comic book news. I want to see your comics. I want them for free. I want you to send them one more time. Where do you send them? You send them to the $1 Million Mailbox, P.O. Box 1163, Arcata, California, blah, 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 blah. I've got here we go, 95518. Send them in. I need more. I'm running out. I'm going to look for Tony's stuff. I really feel like I didn't get it, but I'm going to have to check. I'm going to double check again because I've gone through it again and again. I've still got a stack of stuff here to review. I'm going to be bringing in Larry Young back again. We'll look at more stuff very soon. Who have we got tomorrow? Tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. Pacific time. We're bringing back Ethan Van Sciver. We're going to talk about all the stuff that nobody really wants to talk about. Comics culture, this fucking ugliness that's going on in my favorite industry and hobby, right? Like, it kind of drives me bananas that we've got this culture in this world where people won't even talk to each other, where people are just like diametrically opposed, like they're living in separate realities. I want to try to understand what's driving this. I think I know, but I don't know. You don't really know until you talk to people and really kind of delve in to the thing. That's all I'm trying to do here. So thank you for checking me out. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching and watching the credits, because don't forget, like any good comic book movie, we've got a comic book cameo at the end of this credits. You might have seen this one before, but it's appropriate for today's show. So come back, watch my interviews, watch the next shows. I got some crazy stuff coming up. I know I've been hyping something crazy for a long time. I'm almost ready to drop the craziness. We'll talk about that soon. But when will that be? Not today, maybe tomorrow, but absolutely it will be next time.
Hey, this is Rob Liefeld, Deadpool, Cable, Domino, X-Force, New Mutants, Image Comics, all of it. What is up? Coming to you live here from my beautiful home office to tell you all that there is a YouTube show that you absolutely have to check out. The Comic Book News. Comic Book News with Dan Shaheen. Dan Shaheen. He's got your comic book news for you. The latest, the greatest, the bestest of the restest with Dan Shaheen on the Comic Book News. Go to YouTube, search Comic Book News. There's probably going to be a link with this. Hit that. Check it out. You love comics. I love comics. I love nothing more than to hear news about comics and upcoming comics. And Dan's your man. He's got your news. Comic Book News. Dan Shaheen. Check it out. Rob Liefeld out.